what's up guys, it's Talon. Today I'm going to be coaching a Master Evelynn player. The main thing that I think you guys can learn from this one is how to not lose games when you're carrying. I know a lot of people tell me they carry their games, they play these carry champions, they get ahead, they get these leads, and yet they still end up losing the games. And a lot of times it feels like you make one mistake and you instantly lose the game. And to an extent that is true, but I want you guys to kind of see from the perspective of a player who is very good at Evelynn. He is able to get a lot of very good early leads, but then kind of makes these mistakes later on in the game. So I feel like you guys can learn from how to improve on that. If you guys are interested in coaching, just DM me on Discord or on Twitter. The links are in the description. It's about 15 bucks an hour for coaching. So if you're interested, let me know. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. Are you showing me the Evelynn game where you go 19-4?
Yeah, but I still lost it, and I wanted to actually comment on this game.
Yeah.
Because although I went 19-4 and stuff like that, the enemy jungler, who was Gragas, like outplayed me throughout the whole game. Like he wasn't behind like a second throughout the whole game. I don't think he carried the game. But I really, what is my point? Like I really didn't know how he always got like more gold.
Okay, so you want to figure out how he's getting so much
Yeah,
gold.
yeah. Actually,
Okay.
what he did and I didn't. Like,
Got it. And so while we're watching this game as well, let's really think about objectives again. We'll keep in mind the gold of the Gragas, but let's see how compared to your Vi game you play around objectives to see if it's like a common thing where you go for fights or do other things.
Yeah, for Evelynn, I always go for the steal. Like, I'm used to playing her, so even if they have control ward, I would flash. You know, charm the dragon, for example, QE, ult, smite.
Yeah,
stuff
she's
like
really good
that.
at stealing objectives for sure.
Yeah, so I tend here. I again don't go for the sweeper, although I used to do it.
Well, I think with
Because-
Evelynn, sweeper is not that good, right? Like you don't really need sweeper on
Yeah.
Evelynn, so that's fine for Evelynn. Because the control wards reveal themselves, right? Like if you're invisible and then you walk by them, so.
Yeah, and there is a point that actually now I realize while you were talking about like fighting and stuff like that. Sometimes I do not understand, or I even don't think about our winning condition or how to
Yeah.
stall the game. Even if they get Baron, what should I do in order for like?
Yeah, your
give
goal is to end
time.
for the Baron to leave, or if, like again the Elder, they had Elder earlier, and you fought when they had Elder, but you want to wait till Elder's gone and just stall, you know? So yeah, those things for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So Gragas goes on your
And-
blue buff already, which I'm glad that you go there and you ping your teammates. So yeah, this is good. And then I would just take the blue. I mean, yeah, you played well so far, and you have a gold lead on Gragas because you just wasted time. So
Yeah, and actually these games like 19-4 and stuff like that, they happen to me quite often. Like.
you lose a
Even
lot of
if I
games
know
with high KDs and everything.
Yeah, and I'm not a KDA player. Like I play for the objectives. Here you see like we've got a lot of objectives and stuff like that. And still, when the late game comes and all these Baron fights, it's I think where my main weakness is. Like I don't know when I should just stall the fight because I have a split pushing. For
Yeah.
example, Jax on the other side of the map, and I just force the fight, although we are like 4v5, and
Yeah.
it's probably
When I've coached some other, like a lot of other master and grandmaster jungle players, and most of them they farm very bad and like they don't have good gold early game, but your early game is very good. Like you play very well in the early game from just watching your games. You farm well, you don't force ganks, but you're also there for ganks. Like you play very, very good. So I definitely agree that it's probably the later parts of the game that you need to work on more than like the
Yeah.
early game. So
and until you told me about like all these pushing lanes where the mid and the top one, I like in the game I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Like I was just thinking we should get Baron, we should force a fight here, or we are going to lose. Like this mindset, which is obviously
how many games have you played of
big macro
Evelynn?
mistake.
You said 800 Evelynn games or something, right?
Yeah.
So you know everything that Evelynn can do pretty much, right? If you see a situation, you can probably already tell whether or not you're going to win before you even fight, right? Because you
Yeah.
played so much.
Yeah.
So you already know if you're going to win it or not. So why would you force it if you know you're not going to win, right? Like, you'll already be able to tell in 95% of the situations how it's going to go because you're so good at the champion. So you can use that to your advantage to identify early whether or not you're actually going to win these situations. And then when you think you're not going to win, you need to have the discipline to just leave and to do other stuff and get yourself ahead and everything. So I think the fact that you play so much Evelynn is great. And with Vi, I also liked how you said you were like limit testing, so you're really trying to figure out the same stuff for Vi. So if your goal is to learn Vi, you have to do that same thing. But when you're playing Evelynn, you should already be able to identify like a situation where you're going to lose before it happens a lot of the time, you know. So
Yeah. I totally
but no, this
agree
is good
here.
too, how you're farming really well. Like, your goal is to get gold because you're Evelynn, you're a carry champion, you just want as much gold. The fact that you already got 3 kills, it should be unlosable, honestly, like as Evelynn at this
Yeah,
point.
it should be unlosable actually. Even though like they're GMs, and I'm often when I see like a full lobby of GMs, I'm a bit scared that I'm the jungler. Almost like 90% their enemy jungler is the GM, so I should outplay, outrotate him. And I feel some pressure. Like in master games, I would say like I doesn't feel this urge to, like constantly thinking we should win this game. Like
Yeah.
I should perform better because I'm playing with, of course, better players.
I mean, honestly, like,
And
Grandmaster players are better, but they're not that much better than Master players. Like, you are not as much, like, as worse compared to them as you think you are. Like, you're really not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a difference. You don't have to be that worried. But anyways, going back into the game, like, we see Gragas topside, so you should instant start Dragon, and you should just ping your team, and hopefully they come. And you have ult if somehow the team doesn't come, so you can still get out either way. So I like that you instantly force this. This is great. Like, forcing the objective right away. And then you can even try to check Herald. But this is going to be how Gragas is going to get back into the game. I'm going to assume he gets Herald here. And because he gets Herald, he's going to be able to get Tower or whatever. So instead of forcing a fight, you should be going to try to take his blue buff if he doesn't have it. So a small thing that I want to kind of talk about. I don't know if you did it in the game because I can only see the replay. But you saw Gragas here, right, on top side?
Yeah.
If you scroll over to him, you can see whether or not he has blue buff. And if he doesn't have blue buff, you know you can take camps, right? But if he has blue buff, they're already taken. So then you have to probably go Herald and just try to contest and steal. So that's a small thing to pay attention to, and then you would be able to decide better.
Actually, yeah, that's pretty smart actually, because I wouldn't waste time like going to his blue buff if see
it's not up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he has already taken it. So here, like, Corki pinged to go top, so I was like, okay.
I think this is good. Yeah, I think this is fine. You got revealed though, so.
Then I went for Gragas, but he, I think, flashed away. But
that's good.
I flashed. But I don't think that killing Gragas and using my flash here for his flash is actually good, because they will target me.
Why don't you think it's good?
I don't think it's good, like, because Evelynn is pretty dependent on her flash. Like, I learned it from Talk also, that if I don't have my ult and my flash, I'm pretty useless.
Yeah,
except like
for sure.
late game.
I'm glad that you watched Tog, by the way. Tog's the fucking GOAT. Best Evelynn like ever.
Yeah,
I love that guy. But anyways, so why? So you said you need your flash and ult to be useful. But what are you going to use your flash and ult for right now? Apart from kills, what are you going to use it for?
Yeah, actually, there are no objectives on the map.
So it doesn't matter. Use your flash and ult to get kills. When you are a carry champion, your only goal when there's no objective is get gold. You get gold from this. This is a good play. You flash, you ult, you get a kill, and then you get a second kill even. You can use that as freely as you want when there's nothing spawning, because your only goal is to get gold so you're stronger for the next objective. So you did that completely correctly. You definitely should do that. You shouldn't do that if an objective's about to spawn. But like, well, if an objective is spawning in like 45 seconds, that's going to be a bad time to waste it. If you waste it 10 seconds before objective, it's good, because then you kill someone so you can get the objective for free. So you just don't want to do it like 30, 45 seconds before the objective spawning, you know what I mean? But apart from that, it was good to waste your flash and ult there, because it's not a waste. You got gold, and that's exactly what you want as Evelynn.
And actually, I deny him gold in some ways, because he's dead and he cannot farm his jungle.
Exactly. So no, it's a great play for sure. But that's what you need to think
Yeah.
about is the objectives, and like that's when you make your aggressive plays is when there's nothing else up because there's no reason not to, for example. So yeah, and then here
Mhm.
I'd either go look bot really quick and try to gank, and then go top right after the farm because you don't want to waste too much time. But yeah, like going here
Yeah.
quickly, just seeing if you can get something, and then going right back to top if nothing happens is perfect. Like I mean, you've played this early game amazing so far, so I'm like it should be completely unlosable, and you're not worse than this Grandmaster jungler. Like already from the early game, like obviously you get some lucky, like not lucky kills, but you're not normally gonna get a triple kill that early. But either way, this Gragas has not played well. You've played way better than him so far. So like this guy is not really better than you at the game just because he's a higher rank or whatever. Like maybe he's slightly better, maybe he makes less like throws, maybe you throw the game or something. But overall,
Yeah.
like you're playing well for sure. Your early game is definitely good.
And actually, around 10 minutes, as far as I remember, I saw like in the game the goat lead, and then I saw that we are not ahead.
It's because he's
here
taking
Gragas
your stuff, yeah.
actually, took my jungle, which is like pretty obvious because he saw me bot, and
Yeah,
just
but
to
he's
deny
doing
some
that,
bot
and
lane.
you could now go take his bot side, because I'm pretty sure these camps are probably up bot side, and you have nothing else to do, and he just went back to his top side and wasted time here, so instead of going back there, you could just go to bot right now and take his camps, I think.
Yeah,
If you wasted a little
Actually,
less time bot lane, like, it would have been better, but I'm guessing you look for his red side, which isn't going to be up, because you saw he had red buff again, remember? Like, if you looked at him and paying attention, he had his red buff,
Yeah.
so he doesn't, like his red side's not up, and you should have known that, and then you could have go take his blue side, because that probably is up. But if you, I mean, I don't know if you're able to kill, but yeah. Oh, okay, well, that was unfortunate. But again, here, you see how you could have guaranteed yourself gold by going to his side of the map and farming. Now, you do get a kill in the end, but again, you could have denied him gold as well if you get his camps, but now he has his camps and he gets those, so if you get 300 gold from taking his camps, it's like 600 gold because you deny him 300 gold. But here, if you get a kill, you're not really denying the Gragas gold. So he's still going to go farm his entire blue side and be able to maintain a similar gold to you because of that.
Yeah, now I see. I actually tend to do it when I'm really, I don't know. It's just like after like 10 minutes, I stop like if we're not super far ahead the whole team, where I can just freely take his jungle, I tend to avoid it because I'm afraid like they can have war there or something
Well,
like
you can have
that.
sweeper at this point in the game and then it's fine. Like if you have sweeper at this point in the game, you can just, it won't matter, you know?
So here I throw, I think, yeah. Actually, in this fight, I misplayed quite a lot because I didn't know what to do, who to target, and I was like, okay, and they all die. Like, I was thinking about flanking here.
I mean, I think
and
at this
stuff like
point,
that,
like you could
but-
have given up earlier, you know? It's not every fight's going to be winnable. I mean, looking at this situation, like even just going to the start of the fight, you guys get ulted, you're kind of low, you're all grouped together. Also, your target should be Gragas or Vayne, probably. Or, like, it shouldn't be Zed, because Zed can escape really easily, Janna can escape easily. So you want to go on someone who's not by Janna and it's not Zed. Basically, any of the other three champions, Gragas used ultimate, so he's going to be easier to kill. Or Caitlyn or Vayne, like any of those. Not going towards the Zed. So, I mean, you could go for a flank or you could just go for anyone else, but once you guys are low here, like, we're going to see, I believe, like, there's a certain point where it just kind of looks unwinnable because your teammates die, and you should be able to give up at it on that point. Like, Corki goes in 1 HP, we can see, like, this fight, Corki just dies or gets really low, your teammates are really low, like, they're all about to die. The enemy, from what I can tell, are not low, so your goal here should no longer be to win the fight. It should be to pick off a random person and get gold on yourself, or to go take their jungle. Either of those things is fine. So you could have gone here, maybe tried to one-shot Janna, but you go with your team, and now they see you because you're with your team, you're going to get hit by a damage and they're just going to, like, you know what I mean? So you're grouping with your team when it's already an unwinnable fight. Your goal at this point should already be get myself gold in whatever way I can. How are you going to get gold? Well, or you could go for objective steal as well. Like, that's another option. So you could either try to steal the objective and just survive and try to just screw your teammates, just either steal the objective, kill someone, or go for his jungle. Anything but going with your team here and just killing yourself as well is obviously going to be the worst situation. So
I had even my flash and tooth, so I could just
Yeah,
try
and you basically
to
use nothing until you're already dead, and then you ultimate, right? So,
yeah.
but you're an
Or I could
assassin. Like you literally have invisibility. You do not have to be next to your team in these fights. You can just be sneaking around again, looking for the steal, looking for kills, anything else. But when the fight looks so unwinnable, you don't need to try to win it and like save your teammates. You can think about just carrying the game yourself. Evelyn is like a 1v9 champion, so it's completely fine to just
yeah.
like have the ego and be like, my teammates suck. I'm like 10-0. I don't know. You're like 8-0, 7-0 or whatever. Like now you died, but you're like 7-1. You're super fed. There's no reason to not just be like, you're the only reason, or you're the only way you can win at this point. The rest of your team, they're bad. It's clear your teammates suck. You're the carry. You just need to have that in your mind at this point in the game, you know?
Yeah. And just farm to get my
Yeah,
power
like even
spikes.
going Scuttle here, I think Scuttle's up. Like you could have just gone Scuttle and just extra gold. I mean, getting the Raptors is fine, but yeah, like farming and just trying to 1v9 by just assassinating someone. Now, I'm not the best Evelyn player. Like obviously, you know Evelyn better than I do. If you really want to learn Evelyn, like you said, watching Tog, like that's how you're gonna learn it. So I'm not gonna like give you tips on this champion specifically. More just like playing a carry champion in general. It's just sometimes you have to give up on these fights earlier. Like I think that is the biggest thing from your Vi game as well. You just don't give up on fights fast enough. So
Yeah.
because your
And
early games are very good from what I can tell. Unless you're just not showing me the bad early games you have, but it seems like even the way you play them is pretty good. So
Yeah.
but again here you're
Just
grouping with your team. Like this is another just go ahead, sorry, I'll let you talk.
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
Yeah. I just like just the quality of games now in Master is pretty awful. Like to be honest with you, like most games, people go AFK like in 4 or 5 minutes when they go 0-5, 0-6,
No,
and
yeah, a
it
lot of the
becomes
games in Master are
unplayable.
pretty bad quality. Yeah.
Yeah, and almost every game with Evelyn, especially, I'm either MVP or SVP with most damage taken. I even don't lose so many objectives, like triple dragon or stuff like that. Almost never happen when I play Evelyn and stuff like that. But still, I chose these 2 games. Actually, I played a lot Vi today, like 15, 20 games with her, with Evelyn, just to pick a game which is like a bit higher quality. Uh, just because the other ones are like really not useful. I had a game with Amumu which finished like in 10 minutes, and I was like 1-3, and all my teammates were like something 110, and
Yeah. No, some
these
games are
games are
not gonna be
just lost.
winnable for sure. But like
Yeah, they're just
your opponents, you think they're better than your teammates? Most of the time, like on average, do you think your opponents are better than your teammates?
actually not.
You think they're
I
roughly
don't
the
think
same?
they're. Yeah, that is actually the main reason why I play Evelyn, because I know they're like 50-50
Yeah.
overall. And with Evelyn, I could give them like a chance to win because I gank their lanes. They get
Yeah.
more gold, so we can snowball. And playing like more tanky champions or not good gankers, I leave it like 50-50, because if their enemy ADC, especially in this patch, gets really fat, it's just GG. I cannot do anything. Even with Evelyn, if they got like exhaust and then stasis, it becomes really unplayable for me.
Yeah, no, from what I see, like, I honestly think you're better than most of these players you're playing against. I don't think that like, again, if you're not showing me all the early games that go really bad, maybe there's more things going wrong in those games. I don't know. But from what I can see from your replays and the way you actually play the early games, you are better than these people you're playing against for the most part. You just need to play more selfishly, like, honestly, which is a strange thing to say because normally I wouldn't tell people just like they screw their teammates or whatever. But you're playing a 1v9 champion in Evelyn. You're honestly better than most of the people you're playing with and against in terms of getting an early game lead, getting gold on yourself, and the fact you're a good Evelyn player. But you're not taking these opportunities to go, like, you're not using your teammates as like sacrificial pawns. Like, if your teammates are inting on one side of the map, that means you have a chance to get gold, right? Like, you can take the enemy jungle when the Gragas or someone is distracted by your teammates inting, or these types of things. The only time that you don't want to do this is when an objective is up. And when an objective is up, like in that earlier situation, the earlier fight we were looking at, instead of going with your team and fighting with them, you can just be going for that steal, because Evelyn's so good at stealing and they usually can't see you with the vision. or like this game might have been unwinnable. Your team looks pretty bad here, so some games are going to be unwinnable. But even in these games, you're not thinking about just 1v9ing. You're way too heavily focused on winning every fight and on always being with your team. Like you can let them int. Like even here in the situation, which now I'm gonna start playing again, that I was talking about. I don't know why you're mid lane here. The Baron is spawning, but like not much comes from there. Now you do get a kill, and it's good that you're with your team and you end up killing people. But why wouldn't you just be taking his jungle and everything while this is happening? Like your teammates, I guess you do get a kill, so that's good. But you could be getting a lot of gold in yourself anyways without relying on your teammates, like, because you're usually going to lose the fights at this point in the game because you guys are behind. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you play it well enough, and like you get the kills, and this is what I'm saying. Like it's not always completely bad. If you want to just lurk around and then just try to get these kills and get out, that's a great way to play Evelynn because of her invisibility. It's really easy to like get out with her ult and everything. So if you have ultimate up and everything, it's fine to do this. But at this point now, you could be going and farming because you don't have your ult. And from what you said when you watched TOG, he says when you don't have your ult, it's pretty hard to do much. So why wouldn't you go back to farming earlier here? And now you do it, so you don't waste too much time. But again, just going like being more efficient with your time once you don't have that ultimate up and there's not objectives up can probably just be a lot more useful for you overall.
Yeah, exactly. This is the main point. In sometimes when I'm having these snowballish games, you know, I just don't know what to do. Like most probably I should take, as you already said, like enemy jungle, especially when he's dead. So
yeah, or when he's on the opposite side of the map or anything like that.
Yeah, to deny him goat and make it really unplayable for him.
Which is why you would want sweeper like at this point in the game, probably, so that you can.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just before objectives, I could, swap for a classical ward.
But here again, they're all grouped. Are you like, I don't know, maybe you can end up killing them because you're Evelynn, but it looks kind of hard to kill people when they're all grouped next to each other. So like, there's not an objective. I mean, there's a Baron up, but there's nothing else spawning. It looks like you're gonna kill Caitlyn here, so that's good. And like lurking around here for kills, since like I think Evelynn's pretty good at this, but again, now we end up dying. Like we could just be looking for farm or doing other things because there's no objective spawning, so wasting our ultimate and fighting here is probably not the ideal situation. And this game I do think is unwinnable from what I can see. I don't think that almost anyone would win this game. Maybe Tog would, but like apart from him, I don't think like pretty much anyone would win this game, at least from what I can tell. I mean, I'm not good at Evelynn again, so I don't know, but it does look very hard. Like not every game is just 100% your fault, obviously, you know. And this is in the Grandmaster game, and you're still playing better than your teammates. So like you don't, you know, you're better or as good as these players. So you don't have to like feel like just because you're master that you can't compete with them or anything.
And the game goes on. Like I think I stole here an objective. I'm not so sure because this game was like yesterday or the day before yesterday. I'm not so sure. So
you kill their jungle, so that's really good. Yeah,
we killed their jungle.
Like, your next target should probably be Vayne, I would assume.
Yeah, I went for her, but the
the tornado,
knocked back. Yeah, the tornado.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why they continued fighting instead of going for the objective. And then here Vayne, you know, late game Vayne.
I mean, I think you played this fight pretty fine, yeah. Like, I don't think it was played too bad. I mean, maybe there's a few mistakes, but like overall, I think it's pretty fine. This is the only thing about, I know you have a lot of these games, but sometimes seeing a game where it's like 19-4, it's harder to identify the mistakes, but I think it is still just that you go in too hard with your team and you're never like, going for the farm and everything. So I think if we work on that, should probably be helpful.
Yeah. Especially in late game, I just forget to farm. Like early game, I'm really concentrated only on farming just to get my power spikes items, you know, and then.
Well, it's good. It's good to fight more later on in the game. You do need to, but you still need to keep the farm in mind as well. It's kind of like a good mix, because again, denying the gold from the enemy jungle as well. So.
Actually, this game there was another fight. We'll see, like just in 2 or 3 minutes, which I'm not so sure whether I should have played it better because, you know, they have Zed and stuff like that. So I bought Stasis. I tend to go Protobelt for the gap closing.
Yeah.
But yeah, here I see it's a kill, although I was exhausted. And uh, another thing I maybe should do is like turn off the chat because I really get, yeah, here it was a really pity that
I always play with chat off. I never have it on. I
yeah,
think it's
because they always blame the jungle diff, and this really affects me
yeah,
in
just
many
mute it.
ways.
Like
Like
literally, like you can go to party chat. You know how to go to party chat, so it's always muted.
yeah,
Yeah, just do that.
they start pinging me and stuff like that. So and then I start answering them, and it becomes toxic. So
Yeah, yeah.
this contributes to some of the losses. So we here get the Baron, although we are like 3,000 gold, like
Yeah, I mean, this is not a
behind
bad
them.
situation to be in, like overall. You just have to, you at this point too, you should identify Janna is a pretty big problem in these fights. Like you've seen multiple times the Janna tornadoes, so I would be
Yeah.
trying to avoid going on people that Janna's nearby because she's the one who's going to peel really well. So I would try to go on whoever is not near Janna because you can one-shot pretty much everyone, I think, since Gragas is AP. So as long as Janna's
Mhm.
not peeling for them, you're going to be good for assassinating anyone at this point. So
Yeah. And here we make this call like I don't know whether it was me or the teammates,
see, here
but we went
they're
for the
distracted. Like I would go for I would want to go for Gragas at this point. Like you saw how Gragas
Mhm.
is like split up from his
Yeah.
team and they're all here. Now if your team goes bot, you have to go with them. Like you have to just make sure you're going with your team because you have 5 people grouped together. They have 2 people here, 3 people here. It doesn't really matter who you go for. I would go for the Gragas if I can, but you just need to go for someone and like you could have a 5v3 right now or a 5v2. So you need
Mhm.
to be forcing this really quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's see what
Yeah,
ends up
yeah.
happening. You
So
just start the other,
I don't
yeah.
know.
So you just start the
Yeah,
other. Then now you make it a flip.
yeah.
When what could you they were completely split up. They're still split up. We can see there's one person here, one
Yeah,
person here,
there's
one
still
person here.
split up.
Yeah. You just
Yeah.
pick someone off. You don't and the jungler is the best one to pick off. So you should go for Gragas.
Yeah.
But anyone. Instead you start the objective and you make it a flip for no reason. Not to
Yeah.
mention they have Gragas who's gonna ult literally at least like 4 people and he's AP that's going to chunk the hell out of your team. So
Yeah.
so
And I'm
it
Evelyn,
is the
so
late game. I mean, from what we can tell, it's just the late game that is kind of the issue.
yeah. And exactly, I'm Evelyn that split up, so it's the perfect situation. So here Zed puts this ward. I knew he was going to ult me. He does this, and I didn't have any choice just to stasis and flip it with ult smite, but
They get
the
it.
damage
Yeah.
wasn't enough, and they got the other. So here I was desperate to
Yeah.
pick. I think Vayne I killed. So and still,
But
yeah,
you see how even in the situation where you play well, you get the kills, you it feels like you do everything right here because your teammates are bad and you played really well, right? But even in this situation, if you were just picking off the Gragas, you probably just win. And if it doesn't matter if you play well for the first 17 and a half minutes of the game, if you make a mistake at this
yeah,
point. Like these objectives are the most important part of the game. If your games get to the Elder Dragon, all that matters is the Elder Dragon. So if you make the mistake there, it's over. You know what I mean? And here, they were all split up, and instead you just tried to flip a 50-50 on the most, like, the game-ending objective. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, yeah,
but this
exactly.
is, like, good.
So
You should be happy about this because it's so easy to fix. And if you fix this, you're just going to climb. Like, I can tell you already, you're going to climb if you just fix these small things. Like, a lot more people have way more things to learn about the game, but you, like, you already have a lot of the skill, and you're really good at this champion. So it should be pretty easy to fix, and I think you honestly will climb pretty quickly. So
yeah, my dream to finally go to GM because
yeah,
I'm Hardstack Master
the
every
season's
season.
ending
Like I,
soon, so we'll see if you
yeah,
can get it before the season. But if not, next season I'm sure you'll get it. Holy Gragas
yeah,
damage! But again, even here, like you're grouping with your team, which I mean, your goal should just be to stall while the Elder runs out. Like you should be pinging your team
mhm,
back and just sitting and waiting for Elder to leave and just clearing waves. But somehow, I mean, you guys get the kills, so that's good.
um,
Then a late game is pretty nuts. But you're
yeah.
chasing
She
again.
had a
Your
lot
goal
of
is just to stall the Elder. You don't want to keep fighting. You want to stall the Elder. Like even you can clear the waves is fine, but do not fight at any point until the Elder's gone.
mhm.
Also, do you know how to tell when Elder and Baron are gone?
I think I count the minutes for Elder because I think it's like 2 minutes. For Baron, it's like this purple circle below
But
them.
if you go on the scoreboard in the game and you look in the where it says how long until the next Baron and Elder spawn, when
Yeah.
there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left for the next Elder will be gone. When there's 1 minute and 50 seconds for Baron, the Baron will be gone.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you look at those
Interesting.
things, you can 100% tell.
Yeah. So I would exactly know how many seconds are left
Yeah.
for their Baron or Elder
Yep.
before. Yeah. So this game was winnable, and actually, I
If you
think that
just if
although
you
my
play the Elder
teammates,
fight better, I think you would just win. Yeah.
yeah, because they were split after we get Elder,
Yeah.
we kill them all. We either go to their inhibitors or Baron, I don't know, but both of them would be fine, I think. And
Yeah, I mean, if you have
just had,
Elder, you're Evelyn, you're gonna literally like you use one ability and they die. It's so
yeah,
insane.
yeah, exactly. And here, actually, after this loss again, my mindset was pretty low. Like my mental
Yeah.
was not so good, and I was just like desperately trying to make something. Here, I
Okay,
survived.
this too is obviously a very big throw where
Yeah,
you play so good for so long, but then you get so panicked at this point in the game, and you just kind of like you should have died there, and then you would have just straight up lost the game because they get Baron. But you wasted your stasis, you flash forward, you're just panicking. Like I really don't know. Apart from just you just need to stay more calm in these situations. Like you need to be more confident because there's no
yeah,
reason you should ever be panicking that hard. You just need to have an actual plan. And if you have the plan and you know what you want to do, then these types of things aren't going to happen, right? So,
yeah.
but you still get the
I don't know.
Baron,
I'm really
so
panicking sometimes. Here, I even missed my smite, but fortunately, I still took the. They were distracted by Jin, so
yeah.
I still took the Baron. And here I think that okay, maybe this is a nice kill because Vayne late game is like really,
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just
I don't know,
recall here and then
dangerous.
go for Elder, you know? Like you could just recall, get mana, everything, just
Yeah,
go for Elder then.
that's
Instead you're staying up way too long and now you might die or you're not going to be there in time for the Elder and now you're like low health. So this is another thing, you're not backing when you should be. And then you're late
yeah.
now, like you'll still be there,
This is a
but now
late.
you can't position for a pick or something. So
Yeah,
and your teammates might even die because you're not there. So like if you were there, they wouldn't int. But maybe they
they
do.
wouldn't hit. Yeah, I lost like 10 seconds or something like
Yeah,
that. So
exactly. And
I
now
would
you have no
definitely be
position,
there.
and now you're like late, and you're hoping your team doesn't die, but you see they fight before you get there, and now it's hard. Also, when they're grouped, you don't really want you want to be targeting Gragas if you can, because at this point in the game, if their jungler dies, they can't get the objectives basically. So Gragas should be the target, which it is, but he does a pretty good job there of eing your thing right away. Like that was pretty well
Yeah,
played by him. But again, if you're in the position to be there before the fight starts, also going in obviously without your team being near was not the best, but like if you're there earlier, you're not going to be in this situation where you're like feeling like you have to force something because you'd be in the driver's seat, you'd already be there. But now we have this throw around the objective, and it's probably where we end up losing. So,
yeah, exactly.
because yeah, this game it's really just the late game objectives. I mean, that's been both of these games you've showed me, and
Yeah,
if you just win 2 more games of every 100 games from not having these throws, that your win rate going from whatever your win rate is, I don't know, but if your win rate's 52, it goes to 54. Like that's a pretty
yeah,
big
exactly.
difference, you know.
51,
It's
52%.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, and I also don't play so many games like per season. Like I don't know what actually means many, but I see many people with like 700-800 games. I'm like with 400 maximum.
yeah, it'll be hard
I
to like 400 games is a rather small amount. I think I got Grandmaster. I've gotten Grandmaster playing like 200 to 300 games on accounts. I don't know if I've ever gotten it less than that, but like it's definitely possible,
yeah,
but it's a little harder if you're playing less, but it's still definitely possible.
um, and here I was like, I saw Gragas, that he's going to ult me because he has Zelda, but we somehow managed to kill him. And here is something I don't know what happened, but I thought we might win because I saw here you see Zed is low on health, and I knew he was going for the berries to get some health, so I picked him.
Yeah.
And there were 5 versus 3, I think. Yeah, all of us are alive. That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but still, your goal here
got
even
caught.
is to push the waves and stall the game now. Like you got some kills. Now you want to be pushing the waves. You don't want to be fighting after you get those picks. You know what I mean? You see how your Senna is,
Yeah.
she's actually doing the right thing. She's clearing the top lane so that they can't do anything. And now, like, you would have, if your teammates didn't go in forward there, and if you weren't like, even just being there like how you were, makes them think they can go in, which is like, I'm not blaming you for that because that's your teammate's fault, but like, we have to really think it like this way if we want to carry these kind of, like you said, not very good players in solo queue. So like, if you're just again focusing on the waves and clearing that rather than going for the kills after, like after you get the pick off on them initially, then they're not going to be able to end like this with the wave. But I do just think the main thing is the playing around objectives. You're like, when they were split up, you could have forced a fight on them instead of,
Yeah.
I don't know what that video is.
Yeah.
It's like your early game is very good. You're getting a lot of leads, but you're going in when your teammates don't have ways to follow up, or you're going with your team when the fight's already lost. So I think the main things I want you to focus on are, you've played a lot of Evelynn, so learn when to give up on fights, because you already, like, you know when the fight's going to work or not. So give up on it when it's lost, and then just go get gold on other parts of the map, or go for the objective seal. Do something apart from just trying to fight with your teammates who are already going to die. And then in the later parts around objectives, don't panic. Just realize you don't want to flip if their jungler's alive. If their jungler's alive, try to fight or kill their jungler or use your gold lead in some other way to fight them. Don't just flip objectives or start them for no reason when you're at an advantage, you know. So, oh, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. I have. I had last question.
Yep.
Yeah. I muted myself accidentally. And it was like when they have a tanky jungler. You know, for example, I would say not a
Rammus, Vi,
bruiser
Nunu.
type, but
Yeah.
like a Mundo, for example, or
Yeah.
a Vi that is very tanky, and there is an objective and there is a fight. Could I go for her, like try to charm her, use everything on her, not on the
I don't think
squishes?
so. No. I mean, if you have the opportunity to kill them, you could kill them, but you don't want to be wasting your ult and everything on a Vi who can ult you and CC you. Like if you get a Vi to half health, she's just gonna use her Q, she's gonna ult you, she's gonna make
Yeah.
you use ult, and then you're gonna have to get away. Like your goal probably should be killing the squishies in those situations. Obviously, every situation is different. So if you think you can just one-shot the Vi because she's already half health or something, then good. But you don't want to be going in on a full health Rammus or a full health Nunu or whatever, unless
Yeah.
you're so fed that you can one-shot them. Especially because they have CC, like how I was talking to you about in that game against the Janna. If you're going on Janna, she's gonna ult you away. She's gonna tornado you. If you're fighting someone who has less CC and less escapability, that's gonna be the easiest way to get picks on someone. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So typically, no, you're not gonna want to, but
Yeah, just go. And actually with the case with Jana, actually I think I could have played it better if I actually used charm on her, so she would be CC'd and
yeah,
wouldn't have the opportunity to ult me away, for example, or
yeah, no, for
tornado
sure.
me
Like if you get,
instantly.
again, you know these situations. If you think that you can kill them or do these types of things, then do it. But don't just go in blindly because you're Evelynn and you have so much burst damage. You need to actually think about how they're gonna respond to you, if they're gonna be able to ult you or do whatever, those types of things. So
Yeah, not just mindlessly going in and
Yeah.
then getting CC to death. Yeah. So
No, I definitely think that you should be able to improve and climb though. Like you're a good player overall, so I definitely think you'll get Grandmaster soon enough.